Hello, I bring you greetings from the United States of anger here in the wonderful downtown bullshitty ass city of New Orleans, Louisiana. I am angry and I'm trying to make changes on myself as well. So instead of calling one of my good Judies and just venting all this venom that I have from the wonderful shelter of the Low Barrier Shelter in the heart of New Orleans, where we ride 400 deep homeless in 2024 because rent too damn high. Really, mine is because rent too damn high. The rest of them folk up in there is because they on drugs. Or maybe they got on drugs because rent was too damn high. I don't know. I'm not sure. But what I do want to do is just talk. I don't want to wear my friends out with venting because I know this stuff that I'm going through is pretty heavy. But I'm just going to tell the business of these bitches, these white bitches, these Karens. Karen is a real thing. It's just as real as systematic racism. Yeah, I said it. And my childhood trauma with being spat on and called niggers and the good old 1976-ishness wasn't that long ago. I've been spat on and called nigger. I know what it is to go to a 50-50 school, half white, half black, Warner Park Elementary, growing up. And I know what it is in my neighborhood being the only blacks in a white apartment complex. Maybe one of 2, 3 families in a white apartment complex. I know what it is to be playing jacks one minute and when you winning, all of a sudden you're a nigger. Or to be outside having fun, playing, hide and go seek, whatever y'all got going on, jump rope. And then a white parent calls a white child inside. And the white child says, I'll be right back. Or the white child says, I gotta go use the restroom, I'll be right back. And much later, you go and knock on the door. When you coming back out? You coming back out to play? And the child whispers to you, the white child whispers to the black child, my mommy says I can't play with niggers. With all the regret that a child who just wants to play in the summertime has, that would be the look in their eyes. They didn't want to call you a nigger, but inside the house, the verbiage has been, you out there playing with niggas. You can't go out there and play with her because she's a nigger. So that's what I grew up on. So forgive me if I have a little flashback from time to time when I befriend a person outside of my race and that kind of little shit comes up, because it's very familiar. It's as similar to a bomb and the backfiring of a car for somebody who's been at war. When you do certain little shit, white women, it's very familiar. And I know it when it's happening. I know it real good because I know it firsthand. And those same people, the next day, the next week, however long it took for their parents to let them play with the nigger again, we'd be back friends like nothing had ever happened. So yeah, there is pain. And I do happen to recognize at 52, at this point in my life, that you got to do your own work to heal. You ain't going to find it in a pill. Ooh, that rhyme. I got verses. I mean, what they call it? I can't even think. I done got old now. But, you know, damn, what do they call it? Whatever. But anyway, I'm out here in front of the New Orleans Caesar Superdome. And I's going to turn around and give y'all a view. There you go. Oop, there it is. That's it. So I guess I'll sit here and make my video and do my talking, my good talking. I was angry when I logged on and wanting to vent through my anger, but I've realized that you don't want to keep calling friends to do it because it can wear people out. Because what I go through is a lot. But there are lessons to be learned and lessons to be taught as I learned them. So I thought there's plenty of people that will want to hear this eventually one day. So I'll let you listen. I am, due to my third stroke, due to holding stuff in and being about 250 pounds, eating meat, dairy, which I still will eat from time to time, but I'm trying to back off of it. But in eating all the wrong things and thinking all the wrong stuff and not exercising, I went through some stuff on a job working at the W Hotel where I had two white ladies who were at one time, I don't know if their licenses were still active. I know one of them, her license hadn't been active since 2012, and this took place in 2018. She came through the spa. She used to work at the downtown W Spa. I don't remember her name. If I did, I would call it out. But she special requested me. And when people special request me, if I don't remember who you are, if I don't have notes in my phone under your name, so that I can remember who you are, so that I can pick up from where we left off, like asking, did your daughter have the baby yet? Did your son get out of the hospital? Just little stuff that makes customer service what it is. Being connected to that person, talking about their arm surgery, whatever it was. I usually will have a note. So when I saw that somebody had requested me a week in advance, I looked the person up and I saw that she was also a Reiki master. And, I was excited, but I was like, I don't remember ever working on her. And I'm wondering who referred her, just want to know who you working on, what you touching, what are we stepping into the table about? And long story short, when the heifer got to, now see, this video was supposed to be about something else, but I'm telling you how we ended up having strokes. But when the heifer got to her service at the downtown W in summer of 2018, it was right after I graduated graduated Georgia State after returning and finishing up my bachelor's in film. 30 years. She walked her ass up in that spa, and when I asked her where she knew me from, how she heard of me, it turned into, well, I just hear you're the best around. Bye, 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 bye. And I forget what happened, but whatever it was, she snatched her robe off, so she exposed herself before she even got on the table. Something happened. And instead of me letting that bitch run out the door and run tell the manager, because I hadn't done anything wrong, instead of me letting her do it, I stopped her. And I tried to talk her into staying in her session, because I just didn't, you just don't be wanting no shit on your name. You don't be wanting no bull crap. Whatever it was, I hadn't done anything wrong. That's all I remember. I can't remember the details, but it was some petty shit. Some petty old white girl Karen shit. Either somebody paid her to come up in there, somebody, that manager was in, because I heard she used to work there. I don't know what it was all about, but it was Operation Get Toronto Ass Out of This Spa, because it happened again in December with another white chick whose boyfriend was named Don King. And when I worked on him, he got a healing. He got a miracle. Miracles are unexplainable. He'd had some problems with his right arm where he couldn't lift that arm for about 12 years. He'd had surgery. He'd gone to physical therapy for years and years and years, and he came in one session with me, and within an hour, he was fine. Pain was gone, all of that. I explained to him that I did Reiki on his right arm. Simply talk you through some hang-ups that have to do with the right arm all the way down to the fingers, deals with heart chakra. Heart chakra goes from one side of the chest all the way around the back to the front of the chest. So that's all your kyphosis, your upper thoracic bones, scapula, all of that dealing with the heart. And it goes all the way down your arms to your fingers. If you are having an injury or pain in any of those areas, it could be metaphysical, manifesting itself in response to something that you're dealing with in a matter of the heart. Panic attacks, just heart issues. uh, myopathy, all kind of stuff. That's an enlarged heart, blood spilling over in the heart, all that kind of stuff has to do with heart chakra. It could be the anniversary of a divorce that you think you were over. It could be the anniversary of when you found out your child was dying of some illness that they eventually died of, your child, a grandmother, a grandparent, whatever. Heart chakra equals heart issues, equals heart pain. For a Reiki practitioner and an energy worker, it's not rocket science, but for somebody who receives it, it is. And it's very surreal. It can be spooky, you know, for somebody to get rid of a pain like that. But Mr. Don King, I remembered his name because of the famous name of the boxing manager, Don King, the promoter. And that was the first joke I said when I went to pick him up for his service. I said, Don King, I said, so you decided not to wear your afro today? And that was how we started off our meeting, and he ended up leaving with a healing. He goes home bragging to his girlfriend about Yariel, this massage therapist that healed him. His girlfriend is also a massage therapist. She's a white Karen massage therapist who was jealous of the fact that her boyfriend, who is rich, mind you, this Don King was a very wealthy man. So he came back bragging on this little black girl, and he has to have her every time he comes to the double. Just so happened, my position was a floating massage therapist. So I worked between the Midtown office. I met him at Midtown. I worked in the downtown W Hotel's Bliss Spa office. And I also worked at the St. Regis Hotel Spa. And I'm the person that any of the therapists could call if they had an issue where they needed to call in at the last minute. If any of the spas were overbooked and they needed a spare person, it was me. And I made a whole schedule of that for an entire 8 years until I was fired because of these two white women. And, okay, felt a little tear coming in. Because the shit I'm dealing with in the shelter right now reminds me of these Karens. And that Karen shit is real. And it takes me back to childhood. It takes me back to having a knock on the door and ask when you coming back to finish a game of jacks or a game of jump rope. And finding out that you couldn't just because I was a different shade of skin than you. Racism is a sickness. Systematic racism in America is real. Racism and prejudice is real. And it's just as alive today as it was in 1970s. And those two young ladies, they accused me of things that I didn't do. They asked me questions, personal questions about my sexuality. They asked me to come and work for them outside of my job, come work for their company. The one that was the fiance of Don King asked me to come to their house. She didn't want me to come work. She wanted me to come to their house and sit down and have dinner with them on their ranch. And when I strictly said to them, I don't fellowship with my clients outside of here. And the only way that I would is if you're a family member, you know, just a family friend, somebody I knew like that before, or somebody I go to church with, and, you know, we really know each other. We sing in the choir together and stuff on praise team. But just as far as like going to the movies and hanging out with clients, that's a no-no. And that is a huge ethical matter that is brought up from your first day of massage school to the end. You're taught not to hug, not to befriend, definitely not date your clients. And that was what they taught us at Blue Cliff College in Shreveport, Louisiana. And I held to that in these two ladies' sessions that no, I don't want to come work for you. I have my own business, Yariel's Hands of Fire Mobile Massage Therapy. And No, I don't want to work for you. I'm working for myself. I'm building my own thing. And no, I don't want to come sit down and have dinner with you. That would be unethical. No. And both of these bitches took time out of their busy schedules to write letters over 2 pages long on little old Taronda Renee Jenkins Harrison, Yariel Keturah Abiel. And the one with Don King said she didn't want to come back to that spa ever again if I was working there because I scared her. She was afraid of me, and she didn't want to return. And I'm sure there's a ton of questions. You can ask all the questions you want to, but anybody that knows me and knows definitely that knows of me as a massage therapist can witness that I am one of the most ethical, strict, and by the book therapists you ever want to meet. And within good reason. Thank you. I just got a message. My beautiful cousin, Wayne, Stevia Wayne Babers of Houston, Texas. He's an assistant principal and a Navy serviceman. He just cashed out me $40. I've been singing that old Kanye West song and Jamie Foxx. They give me money in time of need. Shout out to my cousin Wayne, 2 sisters' children, born same year, same month. Been taking care of his cousin ever since stroke number 3. Stroke number 3 hit me to where I couldn't walk all that good. But I'm such a good massage therapist that by the grace of God and a little bit of this and a little bit of scripture and a little bit of prayer and a little bit of speaking it forth, I can walk. I can squeeze. And the dizziness, I'm just gonna cry. The dizziness is fading away as I take care of myself. I've gone from 250 down to 177 pounds with the help of Ozempic. However, I'm coming off of that as well. And just getting back into fruits and vegetables and learning to cook some of my favorite foods meatlessly, dairylessly, and how to just move forward within reason with exercise and happiness, finding my way to happiness. Life can throw you some things that'll have you in a place you never thought you would be. I know as of now, as of March 12th, 2024, when I checked myself into University Medical Center because I couldn't find the keys to the U-Haul that I was sleeping in for 2 weeks or so. I know for sure that I had what my mom and them used to call a nervous breakdown. I can see it in my face. I can see it in my eyes. I can see it in these videos. But at the end of the day, I ain't crazy. I done been around some crazies. I'm just a typical person. I'm about as crazy as the rest of y'all watching this video. Cause we, as my daddy would say, baby, we all a little crazy. We all battle with sanity, living in such an insane replica of life as we know it here on earth. And those of you who may be tuning in or fast forwarding, I'm sitting in front of New Orleans downtown Superdome, the Caesar Center. Atlanta has the Mercedes Dome. And I'm outside of Tulane University. I believe this is 1555. I just like the fives. I'm in a very nice little area. The little flowers, little nice little seating area where I like to come and sit and just talk. I got a little emotional. My cousin, Stevia Wayne Babers Jr., sent me $40 just now. I had just texted him as I left the shelter, and it may be around noonish. Yeah, it's about 1 o'clock. And I'm gonna try my best to stay away from there until lights go out at 10 p.m. and I can come back and everybody's pretty much asleep. And I can in peace either stay up and finish editing Peaceful Tree or just sleep. I've been sleeping good, glory to God, because I've used my tools. And staying away from that place and the people within the place is a great, smart thing to do while I wait in line for my social worker to find me permanent housing. He's finding the permanent housing based on my medical records that he can find, which deal with the strokes, the dizziness, the testing that's been going on for 3 years, trying to get to the bottom of the strokes, and the mental therapy that I've had, which hasn't really even been existing. They just gave me a depression pill and one for anxiety because I would be in there doing Instacart grocery shopping looking for a can of Del Monte cream corn, and if I couldn't find Del Monte cream corn and they only had Libby's cream corn, I was in a place of feeling like I needed a pill of sorts to put the corn in the basket and go to the counter. So I got on some pills, which didn't really help. I feel like it may have helped a little bit with the anger and stuff I was experiencing, but at the end of the day, God revealed to me back in, started taking meds in 2020. Just a depression pill and anxiety pill, nothing heavy, bupropion and paroxetine, which I think is like Wellbutrin and something else. But nothing heavy, like these folks I'm up in this shelter with. They on that heavy stuff. I heard somebody calling in a prescription for Vicodin. I'm seeing them in the bathroom taking heroin and meth. These folks really do. People in America really do have problems. And outside of me knowing or discovering their drug addictions, to just talk to them, I would assume they would be somebody I'd be friends with. So I've spent time developing what I thought were friendships, associations with people, only to see them coming out of bathroom stalls full of 3 other people. Leaving out of the room, going to the bathroom and coming back, and you can't talk straight all of a sudden. Your diction done left. Your diction is troubled. And you still lying about not being on nothing. I literally detoxed the lady last Friday, a week ago today. Wiped her whole little old white ass. She's 95 pounds, so it wasn't that bad, but it was bad. I watched what she wanted to call food poisoning from a hot dog, not knowing who she was talking to. I have an aromatherapy blend for food poisoning. Been using it since 2010. You telling the wrong one. Yeah. I've healed my own food poisoning in 15 minutes flat with that blend. Want some? Inbox me. She said she ate a hot dog, but what she was doing was detoxing, and all her little white friends gathered around looking. And now I understand why they was looking like they didn't know what they was looking at. You was trying to figure out how you wasn't going to explain to me that this woman was detoxing, because I'm sitting up in here not knowing nothing about detoxing. I'm talking her through. I'm rubbing her head. I'm praying. She getting a good anointed prayer. Getting that good old Paul Reed, Bobby Henderson, all night prayer, 7-day-a-week prayer, 7-day shut-in prayer. From around there with Stallworth and them. Motherboard, you getting a good prayer. You ain't getting that cheap generic prayer. You getting that mighty burning fire prayer. And you sitting up here detoxing. And every time I would leave out of the room to go and find more sheets, towels, and stuff for this lady that's shitting and pissing and vomiting all over herself at my hands, as I coached all of the losers standing around watching, the black folk at the front desk of the rehab said to me, she's in a detox, baby. Don't believe nothing they telling you around there. She's detoxing. We can't call the ambulance. You're going to have to get her to call the ambulance. And if you call the ambulance and she's not okay with it, she ain't going to go, don't call them. So I done waited from 12 midnight to 3 o'clock in the morning for her to decide she want me to call the ambulance. Because what happens in a detox, after you shit out the hot dog that you had 6 hours ago, your stomach ain't that big, baby, for 5 hours of shit. What happens is the body starts to push out all of the poison in your system. And it starts to smell worse and worse and worse to where it's unbearable. So she went from a fecal matter that was coming out that was about, equivalent to regular poop that a person has if you help him change somebody's diaper or whatever, to, oh my God, I need a mask. I can't swallow. I can't breathe. It was that ridiculous. Yeah. And for the next week, within less than 24 hours, that little heifer brought her little white ass, prejudice ass, back to that shelter, put her hand in my face, and cussed me, and told me I wasn't no kind of Christian for even mentioning that she could have been detoxing. And she managed to keep the hostility and el silencio with me. All manner of eye rolling all week until today, when she realized that her nine sound like she got pneumonia ass, needs some of this cough syrup from out of my locker. Because while she rolling eyes and acting a fool, everybody and their mama done came through there and got something from Taronda. From ramen noodles to cups of soup to jelly. Now the little white boy done took his drugs, done fell asleep at the counter in the bathroom, done woke up and came in there and got a tube of jelly from Taronda. He said, I'll pay you for it. I said, baby, just bring it back. You ain't got to pay me nothing. Just bring it back sometime within the next year, please, and thank you. She thought it was funny. Now she want to just all of a sudden start back talking. No, baby, it don't work that way. Just because I wipe your ass don't mean I'll kiss your ass. You gonna make peace with me about the way you put your little funky ass white woman finger in my face, Karen. You gonna apologize. You gonna make nice with me, lest you get any more jelly from here. You ain't getting no cough. You ain't getting no rubber motherfucking ass tussin. You're not getting no cherry cough drop. You're not getting 1 ounce of vitamin C until you come over here and say, Taronda, I'm sorry. I was wrong. That's all you got to say. Matter of fact, all you got to do is throw your arms out and say, girl, let's just end it. I'm sorry. It was me. I cut up on you. And I thank you for what you... That's all you got to do. But if you can't do that, It's 399 other people in there that might need a little something from the woman of God, and the woman of God got it. You sit your ass over there in that corner and be white, Karen. I'm tired of it. And I left out mad just like this today. I ain't got time for that Karen bullshit. No. And I don't care how low they are. She's low life enough to have gotten put out of Slidell, Louisiana, where I used to live. Slidell is a suburb of New Orleans. That's where your wealthy folks live at. That's where the gated communities are. Let me go get up under something. It started raining. I think I might go in Subway. You know what? I think I might walk over here to, ooh, dog, it's trying to rain hard. Walk over there to Chick-fil-A. I don't want to get my phone wet. I gotta watch what I eat. I've been snacking. My pants is feeling tight. I don't like tight jeans. My jeans been loose since I went round there to the old Zippy. But yeah, I'm tired of what I'm seeing. I'm tired of developing what you think are nice, cool relationships. You know how you get to know people. To me, every friendship, every relationship is tested with time. You get to know people, you learn what sensitivities, what idiosyncrasies they have, and you govern yourself accordingly. If you're around somebody that don't like to cuss, or cussing offends them, then you watch what you say when you're around them. And when you do slip up and cuss, do your good cussing, you say, I am so sorry, girl. I'm cussing. I'm sorry. Let me just hang up and call later because I'm in my cussing mood. Something. Because I cusses. In case you hadn't noticed, I cusses. But yeah. You learn people. It's not a color thing. It's not an ethnic thing. Technically it is, but it isn't. Because ethnically we all have our ways. We all have our blueprints. We all have our lessons of how things go and should go. But as you get to know people, you grow and you learn from when you bump heads and when you step on each other's toes. But there's a certain little something that the Karens bring to the table that shit is abnormal. It's not normal. Racism is mental illness. Systematic racism is mental illness. White on black hate is mental illness. It's learned behavior that you have been taught within your families and within what you've seen in society, on TV, what you've experienced. Period. That's all it is. At the end of the day, we're all people. We all have backgrounds that we can grow and learn from. We all have backgrounds that we can move away from. You don't, just because you were taught a certain way, don't mean you have to continue to act that way. You know? Put that shit down. Put that foolishness down. They got me coughing. And I'm hearing her in her cough. And no, I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose. But when you're a mama, and you've been a mama, and you're a healer long enough, there's something you can hear in the cough. You know what to listen for. I know what to listen for in myself. That woman done sat up there. She done took whatever she took. And detoxed because she didn't feed her body the same thing again. And instead of taking her ignorant ass to the hospital and staying there and getting clean, she lied to herself and to others about what she had going on. She ran her ass back up in there with whatever she had. She's been coughing ever since then. And the cough has changed. The cough was healing up when she was working with the medicine cabinet that I had. Now, it literally sounds pneumonia. Just her breathing don't sound right. And ain't nothing I can do about it. But it's spreading. Germs, all that kind of shit is airborne. Bronchitis, pneumonia. that spreads to everybody else. So whereas I was feeling fine yesterday, then I wake up this morning and I got that feeling in my throat again. And it's constant because I'm sitting between people who, Karens. The other Karen, let's move on to the attorney. An attorney, an instructor. Oh, I thought she was my new best friend. My 7-year-old. And that's what I was going to say earlier. Ever since my father's sickness, after my father transitioned, May 25th, 2022, I went up to see him in Shreveport, spent some time there, and he literally, again, he's done it several times over, put me out of his house, and I'm still trying to figure out, ooh, this rain is blowing. I'm trying to finish my video. But he put me out of the house, and I had to understand later on, this time before I went to see him, the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, histrionic behavior disorder. And I had to research it and look it up, and come to find out it's a disorder where you're constantly creating fights and getting into fights with people. You can't keep a relationship with anyone, and it's an effort to keep people away from you. So you'll find a reason. Oh, I went off and forgot my earrings. You'll find a reason to fight and to disagree. And when I went up to see him, before I even got to the house, mind you, I hadn't seen him since my mother's funeral in 2016, and this was 2024. No, 2013. And this was 2024. I had last spoken to him on the phone in 2015. And the conversation was going good, and then all of a sudden, I didn't understand what was happening, but he was mad and he was hanging up in my face. And for years and years and years, that thing bothered me to the point of where I was very suicidal all through my 20s, because I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong and why my dad wouldn't stay around, why my dad wouldn't talk to me, why I couldn't have a relationship with my dad. Because I knew I could pray, I could do all of this wonderful, miraculous stuff, and I just couldn't stay in good cahoots with my father. And it was because he had an undiagnosed mental illness called histrionic behavior disorder. And so I was taken by an aunt who I'd never met, 51 years old. I guess I was 51. I had never met this lady before. She's the oldest of my dad's 10 brothers and sisters. And she said to me, she was in her 80s, she said, sweetheart, now I'm going to tell you this, when you go over there, if he act a fool with you, you get your stuff and you go on back to your family's house and you leave from it. Don't stay up here and he acting a fool with you. She said, now I'm going to tell you this, and I was at this woman's house. She was with her husband, who had been married for over 50 years, in her 80s, regular little house in Shreveport. You know, and one cousin was there who I'd met before. I met that cousin when she was in school. I think she played basketball for LSU maybe. But she was a hardcore point guard. She was very good at it. At the time I met her, she was extremely boyish. And sitting in that house in 2022, at her mother's house, she was extremely obese, so fat that she could hardly walk down the stairs as we left the house. She was she was well over 300 pounds. And short, like I said, point guard short. And when I got back to my father, come to find out she's suppressing the whole lesbianism thing. So now she's fat as, but she was in good mind and in spirits with me talking, which is a whole nother story, because I remember thinking when I go to that cousin's house and meet her mother, I was just interested to see her, to see if she was out or see, you know, how she was presenting herself, and to find her trapped in a fat woman's body. That was a trip. Because Anyway, that's them Harrisons. I'm glad I don't know them. Um, just stopping to think about the whole scenario. But anyway, the mama told me if you get over there, she said Otis Harrison is my younger sibling, and he has fallen out with every last one of us as far back as I could remember. She said you'll go visit him, you go to see him. She said I went to the hospital to see him the other day. I didn't even know he had fallen out with me. She said he be done fell out with you and you don't even be knowing when and what happened. She was like, so if he get to acting a fool, just know it ain't you. It's all of us. She started naming sisters who lived out of town in Texas who he had fallen out with. And needless to say, that lady made no effort to keep in touch with me, to call after he died, to check in, nothing. It's just, I don't know them Harrisons. That's a whole nother story, but I'm going to skip on back to whatever the hell I was talking about, because if you watch my videos, you know this is how it goes. I go all over the place because I be going all over the place. Anyway, back to the white Karen. Was we talking about her? I forgot how all those stories connected together. But the white Karen is an attorney. And she teaches criminal psychology, I think it is. Criminal psychology, forensic psychology, something of that nature. Whatever it was, it piqued my interest because I love watching the crime TV and those criminal shows like Criminal Minds and stuff like that. I stopped watching it at one time, but somewhere along the way, I started back watching it all over again. And her story was that she went to the pen, not jail. She went to the pen from her job at a private, I think it's an Ivy League college, I forget. But it was predominantly rich white boys that attended this school. Not all male, but a lot of them were there. And she spoke of the fact that these young white boys got together and they went and they burned crosses in front of the Black Student Union. And she spoke out against it. And somehow, within all of that, she ended up in the penitentiary. Now, how all that mixes together, but Miss Carrie Dunn, that's her name. Carrie Dunn. And I can remember it because my college bestie is Karen Dunn. Shout out to Karen Dunn of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That's how I remembered the last name, Dunn, D-U-N-N. She had a similar name, which I thought was just wonderful, that I get to the shelter and all of a sudden next to me appears Carrie Dunn, and we're hitting it off and we're sitting and talking till 2 and 3 in the morning about the man and society and psychology and family and love, peace, and hair grease. And so my 7-year-old inside of me, that's what I was telling about my father. And I realized when I left going to check on my father that there's a 7-year-old inside of me. A 7-year-old, a degenerative self, 16-year-old, 26, 32. And I forget some of the other ages, but definitely it was 7 and it was 16. And I had to get my calculator out and add like 26 up to see what year it was. And 26 put me in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I remember the person that I was in Tulsa. Tulsa, Oklahoma was where I first started professional therapy concerning my mother being a textbook narcissist with a specialist who was the therapist. Dr. Reese Price, I speak your name in all honor. Oh my God, he was he was walking in his calling. Dr. Reese Price was my therapist back in Tulsa, Oklahoma. My friend Chris, that I sang in the Azusa choir with under Carlton Pearson. I done forgot Chris' name all of a sudden. But Chris was a therapist. And Chris referred me to, and Chris and I were friends, as in hang out at each other's house friends. She was a white girl married to a black man, and they'd adopted a little black boy that was about my skin color. It's about my shade. And she was a very fair white woman. And whenever Chris and I would go to like Walmart, if we go to the store together, and Chris would be fussing at the baby, because he's like 2, going on 2 or going on 3, he was a baby. But if she be fussing at her baby, people would be looking at me so strange, because they'd be like, why is she letting that woman fuss at her child like that? He wasn't my kid. He was our kid. He just looked a little bit like me. But that was my girl. Me and Chris were friends. We're very good friends. Until Chris was being abused in her relationship by her husband. And according to her own testimony, had borderline personality, which I'd never heard of, and I learned of through her. So whatever happened, long story short, I'm not going to tell all her information, but we grew apart. But it was a little Karen in there, if I can look back on that now. It was some of that Karen shit, and it's another one right in the shelter right now that would have some of that shit that Chris have. Because the white woman that chooses to date strictly outside of her race, only black men. See, something wrong with you when you dating onlys. You ought to be falling in love with the spirit of whoever you connect with, whatever their race or background or creed is, whatever it is. You shouldn't be walking around saying, if you a black woman, you shouldn't fix your mouth to say, black men not attracted to me. You're talking about millions and millions of melanated men on the face of this earth, and not one of them is going to be attracted to you. And if you're a white woman, you should be walking around to my white men not attracted to you. How? Why? Not one on the face of the earth. If you're going to date somebody, date them. If you're going to date outside of your race, do so. If you're going to procreate outside of your race, do so. But do it with balance, and do it so that when you procreate and bring in children of mixed cultures and backgrounds into such a systematically racist society, that you can teach them how to flow and ebb amongst this group of people on this place that we call Earth. I'm just saying. It's a white girl now. She got thin hair. She don't have no good white girl hair. Now, Carrie got good white girl hair. Very good hair. Carrie with the good hair. She got good white girl hair. It ain't street hair. But this other white chick, she got that street hair. And she messing around with the black men in the bathroom, doing their deeds. And this is another thing I'm seeing around the shelter that just turns my stomach. Let me watch what I say. Cancel, cancel, cancel. That I just don't care to see. The black men are extremely abusive towards the white women who will not leave their side. But when they walk past Queen Taronda, they got attitudes. I'm the one you should be around. If you trying to take on the culture, not some Negro that's selling drugs in the bathroom all night, ain't had a nap in 3 days, selling drugs, and you run around here for the celebration of having sucked his dick because you think it's bigger than everybody else's in the whole entire world, which is a lie, maybe. But y'all said it. But what is the point? What is your point? What is your point? I have seen the most filthiest foolishness coming from white women in this shelter than anything in anybody else. At least the black men acting like they do out there on the street corners, if they coming from the street corner. White women have privilege. They have wonderful privilege. All you gotta do is get your little teeth fixed and comb your head and show up, and they will put your ass in charge. Matter of fact, your teeth could still be missing, and they'll put you in charge, white woman. And you're gonna come up in the shelter. And I mean, I wish you could hear this is one black man in particular. This black woman that he dated. He come and stand at the door of my room. It's about 28 of us in there, and it's female only, mostly white women, surprisingly. I'm gonna say it again. This is a general pop. They have a secluded room for elderly people who physically can't get around. They have a room for LGBTQ, XYZ, HMLMNOP people. And it's only about 12 spaces in there. Then they have a room for veterans, probably about 28, like that's in my room. And then my room is predominantly white, but it's all female. I feel, in my personal opinion, that room was created to keep the white women safe. And them bitches that's up in there is Karens all day and all night. And I'm watching them, how they stick together. That little one whose ass I wiped last Friday, while she's sitting up there lying about a hot dog that made her sick when she really detoxing, she walk over, she walking over talking to all the white folks. She's skipping over my black ass. For what? Because I wiped your ass and prayed over you? Yeah, I'm saying it like this. Because, yeah, my feelings are hurt. Yes, I feel in some kind of way. I feel in some kind of way from way back in the 1970s. When it was Kelly and Helen and Toby and my little friend Bucky, my friends that I played with, and there was the racism that I had to deal with back then. Yeah, that 7-year-old in me still hurts, thinking you got friends only to find out they can't be your friend because you black. So anyway, it trips me out how they get together and they stick together to be wrong. I don't want a friend that can't tell me the truth about myself. Now you tell me with respect, you tell me apologetically, you get a little tone, but you respectfully say what you see. Don't leave me out here making a fool out of myself by myself, with myself. You better tell me if I'm messing up and doing the same mistakes over and over. You better help walk me out of that thing, friend. I will do it for you. And that's what I'm watching in this place. I guess it's a thing with drug addicts. You got people around you that lie to you. I laid in my bed today as I was doing what I was doing, and I overheard Carrie call this sister that she has been dogging out and telling me about since I got there. This sister that did her wrong, and this sister that she went into property value with and owned a house so that their aging mother, could have her own quarters outside and in the back of the house on a piece of property or whatever. Her sister, who now has heated toilet seats, and each toilet seat has a heated bidet to clean her butt. Her sister that has dogged her out and quote unquote stole her money and got her out here living on the street after she done saved the black student union and went to the pen for the black people to save the black race. The same black race that you say that when you don't even want to speak to me and I got all the cough syrup and vitamin C. She put foil paper all over her bunk bed. She moved from the top to the bottom bunk bed, put foil all over the top, shaded her bed out with sheets on each side, And to show you how God worked, after she got through acting funky with me, one of the black attendees that works front desk came in and snatched all her foil paper down, all her blankets. I said, come on, God, you better come through. I ain't even have to say nothing. They didn't have a clue about how them bitches had been treating me since I was wiping ass. In Jesus' name. Snatched all her shit down. Now all of a sudden she crying and she needs to go home because this shelter is just not a safe place for her. It's not the place that she needs to be. We talking about the same person that go to the bathroom and come back and can't talk straight because you want something. But this shelter, I heard her call her sister begging for a ride home, wanting to come and I guess stay there or get her a place to stay. Mind you, all of her sisters and brothers are DAs. They're college professors. I mean, they're just well-to-do. And she's sitting her ass down here in a raunchy-ass, mouse-infested. And it ain't as bad as it could be. It's really not that bad. But down here in the shelter in New Orleans, when you could just be living regular life, teaching school, you're lying to yourself. It's just something to watch these people be who they are and how they are. The little one that lied about the food poisoning and the hot dog, I put a sheet over my head because there's nowhere for us to change clothes. So I put a sheet over my head and put it on my bra, changing clothes, getting ready to go out for the day. She said, hey, you. Hey, you. Call herself was talking to me now. And you know goddamn well I ain't finna answer. I kept with putting on my bra. And she was saying something to me in a jokey form. I think it had something to do with the guy that came to borrow the peanut butter, the jelly for the peanut butter. Because I'm comical. And I had said something funny about peanut butter. And she was like, hey, you. I said, don't you hey you me. You don't know my name all of a sudden after I done wiped your ass? You can't remember my name? Yeah, I went there just like that. Ignorant. Ignorant as all get out. Because, as my mama used to say, which I got to make another video about unlearning what your mama done taught you. But, like I said, some folk need cussing out. That's what my mama used to say. And in that moment, she needed a real good old-fashioned Patsy Jenkins and Otis Harrison's daughter mixed together times 10 cuss out. And that's something you don't want. You wouldn't wish that on your worst enemy. I went there black mama style and I got to fussing. I said, now you done laid your ass up here while I done wiped your ass. You done come back, put your finger in my face, cuss me out and call me everything but a child of God. Now you want to sit up here and talk about some, hey, neighbor. We ain't neighbors, bitch. You know my name. Say my name and say it respectfully. Or don't say shit to me at all. Because I ain't got to talk to you. You ain't got nothing I want or nothing I need. I got what you need because you sound like you got pneumonia. But pride. And I threw a nice little Bible scripture on there. The Bible says pride comes before a fall. It sure do say it. Google it. I said you're too prideful to make peace with somebody that was loving enough to wipe your ass and pray over you. I said, don't come to me with that bullshit. No, it's not okay for you to just refer to me and talk about some hey. And you done rolled your eyes and been acting funky all week. No, bitch. You gonna come over here and say, hey, Taronda, let's talk. And if your 60-year-old looking 80-year-old ass can't say that, don't say shit else to me. And you sit there and you watch everybody come through here and get their noodles and their crackers and they jelly. They ain't getting my peanut butter because I put my hand in my peanut butter. People are full of shit. It's another little white girl. The black man be all up in her face. Now, he was a Black Panther. He was one of the original Black Panthers from out of the Texas area. When I saw him, he looked very familiar. He looked like one of those civil rights activists that would have marched with Martin, like John Lewis knew, from around Atlanta. When I first saw him, because I was thinking, Pascal's, that's the name of it. When I first saw him, my first thought was Pascal's. And I went up to him to ask him, was he, one of the owners of Pascal's? Was he, did I know him from Atlanta? Because I kept trying to figure out how in the hell would one of the civil rights activists end up in a damn shelter in New Orleans? Somebody around you could help you. And it didn't dawn on me until I got up in there. That was my thought the first day when I first saw him. It didn't dawn on me. That's so sweet. The little serviceman stopped blowing his little duster when he saw me walking by making a video. Kind of a brown man, like he's Mexican or something. You see, just love is love. Be kind to people. But I'm on one today. I'm on one. But I need to go find me some lip gloss. I don't know what, all my glosses and stuff is somewhere in storage in one of my old purses. I don't even have no lipstick. But anyway, yeah, when I first saw him, I had just gotten in the shelter. I had no idea I was walking into these shifts of people that hog bathroom stalls 24 hours a day. Now, as of tomorrow is June the 1st, 2024. One of the well-known rehab centers, I think the name of them is Odyssey House. They're going to be taking over control of Low Barrier. It is my understanding that Low Barrier, from the head of security, who is a female, all the way up to the guy that owns the place, are big time drug dealers. That's why shit been going on up in there drug wise. It's my understanding that Odyssey is taking over, and they have sent out a warning that they're going to be sending dogs in to come through and check for drugs. And if any is found, you may be put out or offered an opportunity to get into drug rehab or whatever. My question is, how different are the people at Odyssey from the people that are already running this and who have turned this into what it is now? That's my question, New Orleans. One of my ex-little nephews, I had adopted a nephew and I unadopted him after some things went down in there, because I have to realize I can't let the 7-year-old and the 16-year-old choose my friends, because they haven't lived long enough to know. And when I talk of the 7-year-old and the 16-year-old, I'm talking about degenerative selves, a psychological term for what I believe the Holy Spirit has. I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm making it up for the first time, because that term has already been out there. See, this is a sidewalk full of white men coming, and I just got off the sidewalk in order to, all of the beautiful trees. Yeah, I played that off like I was at trees, but I wanted to show you an example of when white men walk down the sidewalk. I got off and stepped in that to get off the sidewalk, because they was about 4 or 5 deep, and wasn't none of them making no effort to stand over and allow for me to walk down the sidewalk. Now maybe because I'm Leotha's grandbaby, I humbly get off and give them an opportunity to keep walking, but it happens all the time with white folks. If you walking down the sidewalk and they walking, if they walking together and they got a conversation, they not getting out the way for you to walk by. Now, it's my understanding, in America, you got a left lane and you got a right lane, if it's 2 lanes. And if you got a sidewalk, you got a left side and a right side. So if three of y'all are coming to my one, three of y'all should be getting over to create that left and that right lane. Not walking to push the one person off. And see, it's psychological shit like that that people don't get about being black. It's little shit. Yes, I'm mad, and I'm going to say it. It's little shit that people don't know about if you've never walked in this skin. And I'm glad I was recording when that happened. Shit like that bothers me. It bothers me. If that had been me walking and a woman was coming with 3 little toddlers and one in a stroller, I would have gotten out of the way just so she could get by with the kids. But again, there's not a whisper of excuse me, hello, nothing. There is a way that you're treated when you're black. One more. There are subtle nuances of communication that we have in America. We can make eye contact. It's a very slight tilt of the head. I'm talking South. Now, Northern folks may not know nothing about this. But down here in the South, there is a language that is spoken and it's unspoken. And amongst blacks, there's also a language of just an eye contact and a head nod. I don't care what you're doing or what you got going on. It's okay to do it. You know, hey, how you doing, ma'am? Because she's out doing her laps, and I saw her on her other lap. She walked past me and I didn't speak because I was making my video. But my manners definitely had to speak the second time she walked by. And she says back to me, hello, loud enough for me to hear. These kids nowadays, they'll be standing there looking at you, won't open their mouth. And if you say it again, you're not going to speak, they'll be ready to fight. Matter of fact, kill you if they can. I feel like my nephew when I say I'm about ready to get up out of here too. This would be a nice place to just leave. But unfortunately, there's work to be done, and we ask to come here to learn shit. I believe in my life of lives, and this was told to me actually by it was told to me by Reggie Lewis, or is it Taylor? No, Reginald Taylor is my uncle. Hey, aunt. But Reginald, that used to tall, light-skinned guy that was a medium on the Steve Harvey show when Steve had his talk show. Reginald did a lot of readings on there, celebrity readings, and I did a reading with him one time, and he said to me that I had lived, he said I'd lived many, many lives over. And I'm trying to think what I want to eat. I sure wish it was still breakfast time. I would love a Chick-fil-A biscuit right now. But it is well after 1 o'clock. And they is not serving it. Some Chick-fil-A ice would be nice. Trying to see how to spend Wayne $40. I'm thirsty. But anyway, he said I'd lived many lives and that I've been a queen in most of them. Like Empress Queen, over and over. And I looked at the 7-year-old, a picture of the 7-year-old Taronda popped up. And I looked at her and I remember that picture. I remember I remember when I came home and I showed Mama, you know, you get your pictures back in grade school. You come show your Mama your picture that you took. And I remember her pointing out everything within the picture that wasn't pleasing to her sight. And one of the things was some of my hair was a little scraggly, a little ponytail. And my 2 front teeth were missing. So she had told me not to smile and show those missing 2 front teeth. So I had left my mouth open just a little bit, and you could kind of see, and she pointed out that little space. I had a good mother. I'm just pointing out the parts of having her that I'm yet still trying to get over at 52, going on 53. And I believe the lesson in all of that is to teach others how to be a mother, and more than anything, how to mother the prophet. Prophetic children have to be taught. Gifted children have to be taught a certain way. Because insight is what it is. It's truth. We see truthfully. We see and we hear things we have no business knowing. And a responsibility comes with knowing that kind of stuff. So you have to learn how to handle yourself, how to handle that kind of information, how to handle those gifts, how not to prostitute them, which is what's happened amongst many of the church leaders, prophets, preachers, and teachers. Didn't have the proper training. Even now, a lot of the prophets, the popular prophets now that are in the black church, that shit is entertaining. It's very entertaining to sit and watch, to watch them work. It's mesmerizing. And it's something that has to have a sense of measurement to it. Because if not, it can really get and be out of hand, which it is now. 2 in particular that I could think of that are 2 of my favorites, who were also fans of one of my elders, Dr. Paul Reed. They are whoremongers of the whoremongering, messy of the messies. But there's some keen prophets. That one cinnamon roll cost $7. I'm finna eat some junk today. It's classic. Okay, I'm stopping this and finna go live my life. I'll continue this later. What was my message today? I guess this one was about racism. Systematic racism. White Judies. How I ended up having a stroke, holding in stuff. I got fired because of white women coming to my job, creating stories that were not there, saying that they would not come back to the spa if I was there. But while I was in the session with them, constantly talking, constantly questioning, constantly begging me to come work for them, with them, and to be their friend. And when told no, they left and made up all kinds of stories. And that mixed in with all I went through from church, mixed in with Otis Harrison, mixed in with just shit. I had 3 strokes. One of the strokes was because while I'd had the first stroke, I was in the hospital. A nurse came in and she put blood pressure medication by fluid into an IV. And I immediately went into a stroke. She turned her back and walked out the door. So that was the second stroke, and it was heavy and it hurt. That one really hurt. Like physically, it was hurting, and my head and my arm was stuck in a sling like this, and my face was, I could feel my face pulling. Yeah. So I had real strokes. This wasn't no plaything. And while I was in that stroke, another nurse who had gotten really nasty with me earlier that day about some water, she told me the hospital was out of water. And I asked to speak to her supervisor. So that night when one nurse came in and gave me the wrong meds, the other one came and stood in the door and watched me stroking and didn't do nothing. She just stood there and rolled her eyes at me. Now granted, I obviously said some shit to her that hurt her feelings. That wasn't my intention. It was in response to how she was acting. However, I had to learn the hard way that ain't gonna get you nowhere. You better keep your mouth shut when you're being mistreated, lest you be treated even worse than what they're already showing you. Oh, that's what I want. I want that catfish from that place. I'm gonna get a donut and go that way. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm trying to remember where it is. How would I get there? I'm gonna put the number in. I'm gonna put the number in my phone. Okay, but I'm gonna go. But anyway, that's how I had the strokes. That's what happened. And yeah, real caring is a real thing. It is a real thing. It breaks my heart. Pretty sensitive to it. I love that shirt she's wearing. I love that shirt. I want that shirt. I wonder where she got that from. See, if I could sew, I would just go make that. I got to give it Vita and learn how to sew. I hate I didn't learn from my mother how to sew when she was teaching me, but my mama. Bless her heart. She could sew. But anyway, love y'all. Love, peace, and hair grease. Until we meet again out here on these New Orleans streets. Bye-bye.